Hello, YouTube. It's your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, coming at you again with another YouTube video. And the title of this video is called Look Away, Passport Bros, While I Slip Scopolamine in Your Drink, says criminals in Colombia. And the way this video came about was I was watching DC Born Rob's channel. He's a YouTuber that does a lot of traveling, and he kind of like looks out for people that looks he pretty much gives warning to people who are traveling, whether it's to, Peru, Colombia, Thailand, Guatemala, that kind of thing. So please subscribe to his channel if you have time. But he talks about all the different news going on in these countries, everything from, like politics there to all these incidents of, unfortunately, American citizens and foreign citizens dying in, some of these, dying in Colombia, Brazil, that kind of thing. And so anyway, I was watching one of his videos, and he talked about there recently was an American that died from an overdose from scopolamine. And also, even before that, I started looking at some other people's channels who also talked about being drugged and robbed and that kind of thing, to get more information about the drug and also the incidents there. He had reported that, unfortunately, they claim about 50,000 druggings per year, I believe, in Colombia. And they were saying that, and also these druggings are not just, men being drugged, also women being drugged and raped, and also not just Americans or Canadians being drugged, drugged or rape, also like the native Colombians as well. So they combine all those. And then also when they talk about druggings, it's not just scopolamine, it's like all the other drugs like roofies and those kind of things as well. And they just talked about how rapid it happens and that kind of thing. And so as I was watching this video, and plus there were several other YouTubers, Password Bros, talking about this as well. And put it this way, they did give the truth and they talked about it a lot. But what I wanted to do in this video is I wanted to talk more about the drug itself, how this is occurring, ways you can kind of avoid it, and kind of, in a sense, kind of ease people's nerves and thinkings about traveling to Colombia and that kind of thing. Because the thing is, it kind of gets to a point where you're doing so much fear mongering, then some of you guys may miss out on visiting Colombia or even Brazil or South America in general, because you at this point you have heard so many horror stories and that kind of thing. So I kind of want to touch on it because it's not something to be taken lightly. It does happen. I do know one person that's close to me that had a close encounter. He was not drugged, but something close that happened to him, and I'll actually speak on that. But anyway, let me get into this. So anyway, let's talk about this. So what is scopolamine? In general, it's pretty much like a drug that people have been using to. Usually, it's done by putting in a person's drink. You can also, supposedly there was an incident in Paris, where there was like a gang there, Chinese gang there, that what they would do is they would find elderly people. They would get like a little card, put the powder on a card. They would ask the elderly person, "Hey, I can't read this card. Can you read this?" When the person ducked their head down to try to read the card, they would blow the powder in the person's face. And then supposedly, after that, the person would be so, what's the word, intoxicated from it, that they'd be able to take advantage of them. So that's one way. So it's either, so one, you can get intoxicated from the powder being blown in your face or being slipped in your drink. And supposedly another way is by it being pressed on, like, the person, like a girl's body or something like that. Supposedly, like, with some type of some kind of liquid barrier, like, maybe like Vaseline, something like that, like it's mixed in. So then when you're, being sexual with the girl, you wind up, unfortunately, ingesting some of it. So those are the three different ways they talked about, and I kind of want to brush up on those. So supposedly, here's the thing: when you actually get it in your body, there are multiple sources saying similar things, and then some of the things are a little bit different. Like, supposedly, One of the things is you usually, a few things. You're either going to just pass out very quickly, or in some cases, they're saying that you're going to be so almost out of your mind from it that almost like you lose free will, like you're such like a almost like in a childlike state where people will ask you questions, you're telling them what they want to hear, to ask you about like your credit card codes, and where where you left your valuables, and you just freely giving it up because you're so like intoxicated and you're not really aware where you are, and that kind of thing. And then of course the other extreme case is that they put so much in your drink or on you, or it belongs so much in your face that you just completely just pass out and black out, and then the people kind of take advantage of you while you're passed out. So I've heard a mixture of these things, and in some cases there have been some reports where they've tried to say that the part about being free will, about giving up your free will and just saying, doing what other person says, they're trying to say that that might be a little bit exaggerated. But however, I listened to some people on YouTube that actually had some unique stories. One guy in particular said he had taken a drug. When he woke up, it was 3 days later, which means they kept drugging him the whole time, and they eventually were able to use his credit cards, which makes me think that when he was in this state, it's almost like you were very, very drunk. You're not really paying attention, so they were able to get lots and lots of information out of him. So put it this way, I believe there's some truth to it. So and plus there's his there is literature that says that at one point the U.S. government had used the drug as a truth serum. So what I'm gonna say is, in general, I always think in many cases there's some element of truth to all this. So you have that going on, because also there were reports of doctors that saying that, for example, in a case of it being blown in your face, people were saying things like even like the car could be dipped in the liquid of scopolamine, and then once you touch it, it would kind of like seep through your skin. And the doctors were saying that that's kind of an exaggeration. Like the amount in it, it wouldn't be enough to kind of seep through your skin and cause the type of lack of free will that these people were talking about. But however, I do know for a fact that they actually have scopolamine little pads you can put on the back of your ear, and a lot of times they prevent people from being seasick and that kind of thing. It kind of seeps into their skin. It's such a low amount that doesn't really do anything. So um as far as it seeping in your skin, it seems like that's a little bit more of the exaggeration part. But some of these other ways it's gets into the body, I do believe there's some element of truth. They're not in most cases. They said about 75% of the cases when people are getting drugged, it's not from the powder being blown in your face, and it's usually not from, for example, you're kissing a girl's breast and she has like some Vaseline with it mixed on her breast. That's usually not the way that it's getting in there. And even then, some doctors were claiming that it would have to be an exceptional amount. And in many cases, the person may actually self-contaminate when they do that. Now, I'm not saying that these criminals are not crafty enough to kind of put something together where maybe, it could potentially happen. Like maybe they mix it into some type of lotion on top of them. Maybe it's like on their shirt or something like that. So I would just say, take some type of precaution. Um, so yeah, so that's primarily the way it's getting into the people's body. Now, as I said before, in 75% of the cases, is generally being ingested through like your drink. Another thing about that is they said that here's what's interesting. They generally said when you actually ingest it, you technically don't really fall asleep. In fact, they say you're kind of like aggressive. It's a horrible type of feeling. And so what the criminals do is they actually mix it with other drugs. Like, they might even say things like I believe it's called Valiums. And I'm not gonna say Vicodin, but a few other drugs as well that they mix it with. And the purpose of that is to keep you from being so aggressive and so you know, uh yeah, just kind of like, yeah, just so hyped up from it. Because they may actually do the opposite. Because what they really want you to do is, they want you to kind of relax and fall asleep, or at least be in a trance-like state, so they can take advantage of you. But if you're hyped up, that's going to kind of work against them. So they actually, in many cases, when people are ingesting this, is mixed with other things, including alcohol. And of course, that could make it even more toxic because you actually don't know what additionally they're adding to that. You don't really know how it's going to affect your body. So, yeah, so I just wanted to, so that's the drug in itself, how it's ingested. And then in addition to that, now what I want to do is talk about some ways that you can prevent this and how you can stay safe. Because what I don't want to happen is this, because what's happening is when people are hearing these reports, even when we discussing this stuff now, it turns to a bunch of fear mongering, and people start to think that every single woman in Colombia is out to get you. Every single woman you're talking to is trying to drug you. Every single person you're talking to is trying to find some way to get you. Now, here's the thing. There are druggings even in United States, in Las Vegas. I mean, I was watching a documentary. There was actually a prostitute talking about how she drugs a lot of her clients and that kind of thing. So you have this going on in the USA. You have this going on in Thailand. You have this going on in the Philippines. You have this going on, as I told you before, in Paris. So this is like across the globe. Now I don't want to also lightly take this lightly and just act like as if it's not happening at a higher percentage, maybe so in Colombia and Brazil and that kind of thing. But you also got to keep in mind the economics of those countries versus USA. But however, what I am trying to state to you is that this happens across multiple countries. It's not just Brazil and Colombia. So that's that. Um, in addition to that, we could talk about the different ways that this is generally happening. For one, in majority of these cases, what's happening is the people are meeting these girls on Tinder, and they're meeting the girls on Tinder, and they meet up with the girl. They bring her back to their place. The girl asks for some type of drink, asks them if they can bring drinks, that kind of thing. Or usually, in some cases, they might even say, "Oh, I have a friend. My friend wants to come over." It can even be something that's to the effect of, maybe it's a working girl you met on Tinder, and then she says, "Hey, I have a friend. I want to bring that friend over." So then that same day, you bring the girl over, and then while you're there talking or whatever, you guys are drinking. You go to the bathroom. She drops it in your drink. You're not paying attention. You come back. You drink it. Next thing you know, it's like the next day you then blacked out. All your computers and laptops are gone. That kind of thing. So let's get into this, and let me give you a few tips. Okay, so as of now, I would say kind of for the most part stay away from like Tinder. I do understand the incentive of why everyone would want to use Tinder, because technically when you go down there, not everybody wants to do the play for pay. Everyone doesn't want to do play for pay, or what we call P for P. They don't want to do P for P. So I would say, so let me say this. So for the guys who don't mind P for P, the safest way to do P for P, if you're going to do that, and as I told you before, I've dipped in my hand in both buckets with the regular girls, the non-pros, and then also I've dealt with the pros as well. So if you are going to deal with the pros, the safest bet is to actually go to the casas um, or the massage parlors, that kind of thing. The reason for that is, in most cases, especially like the casas, there's actually somebody that owns it. May even be a gangster or something like that. But either way, whoever owns that, they're not going to mess up their business by having you go there and people are constantly getting drugged, that kind of thing. Not only will they be rated, but it doesn't make sense even from like a financial standpoint, because they're making, in many cases, they're probably gonna be making money hand over fist, that kind of thing. They're not gonna mess it up. Plus, some of those, and this of course is why you want to make sure this casa has been there for a while. So one, there's been most of people that have gone there, they have not had any issues, have not been any druggings, that kind of thing. For the most part, it's safe overall. Again, always keep your guard up no matter where you go. But in many cases, it's a lot safer if that is your thing, to just do that, to just do the casas, the massage parlors, that kind of thing. You can have a great time and stay safe. You won't have any issues. You don't have to worry about being drugged. If you want to be extra safe, even when you go to those casas, massage places, just say, I don't want any drinks. I'm fine. I just want to hang out, talk, get the business, that kind of thing. And of course, you'll be fine. You won't have any issues. That's the safest way to do it. Now, if you're a guy who says, well, that's not my thing, which in the case, a lot of the guys, I'm not gonna say just them, but even the guys doing the P for P thing, some of them get drugged as well. But any case, if you don't really want to do the Casa thing, the massage parlor thing, if that's not really your thing, and again, I'm not judging either way. You just want to deal with regular girls who are non-pros and they're not looking for like, money and all that kind of stuff. A few other things you can do. Right now, a less popular but efficient app that I've used instead of Tinder, there's an app called Badoo. You should look it up. It's called Badoo. Works kind of similar to Tinder, but it's not as popular. A lot of people don't really know about it. In many cases, the girls who are doing the druggings, in many cases, they're just using Tinder. Now, that's one app you can use. Another app is the Latin American Cupid, and that one is a little bit better in my opinion because the profiles on Latin American Cupid are a little bit more thorough. You also can see how long that person has in many cases you can kind of keep record of how long that person has actually been on the site, because you can actually save people to your favorites. You can come back several days later, see if they're still active. And the reason I say that is because if somebody's going to drug you, a lot of times what they're going to do is they're going to drug you, and then they're going to remove their profile from Tinder for a while, at least for like a few days or something like that, so no one is able to find them and that kind of thing. And plus the way Tinder works with all the swiping, um I think you can unlike somebody and get them from like actually being able to reach out to you. You can block them, that kind of thing. So in many cases, you weren't really able to find a girl that actually drugged you. Put it this way, it'll be harder to do it yourself. Versus on like Cupid, the profile kind of stays there. You can favorite it, you can go back to it, and again, you can see how long the person's been on it. You can see how active they are. It's a little bit more transparent, and it's a little bit more. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. It's a little bit more transparent. And again, with the girls, because I've usually met girls through Latin American Cupid. I don't really use Tinder. I've used Badoo, but Latin American Cupid is a little bit better because you can also, of course, you can video call the girls on Tinder as well. But I've done that more with Latin American Cupid. You're able to call the girls, that kind of thing. So that's one way to do it. The other way, which is the most safest way, of course, is what? Code approach. When you go to Colombia, a lot of times what I would do is I go to different restaurants, everything from like McDonald's to the girl that works as like retail in like the malls, and I'm just flirting with them, talking with them, and I've gotten some numbers that way, like some of the girls that worked at McDonald's, that kind of thing. They see all the time. They flirt with you. It's very easy. If anything else, there's a guy I saw on YouTube. What he generally does is he tries to ask for directions. He waits for the girl to give him some type of body language, to act like to show him that they're interested. He asks for their number, and he kind of goes from there. To me, that's a little bit more. That's a lot more safer than the Tinder, especially currently. Now here's the thing. And here's one even better one. And to the guys out there who are looking for a wife, you're looking for a girlfriend, and you want somebody that's heavily vetted. Now, a lot of times in my older videos, I did promote this. Now, I have seen some YouTubers and even some passport bros that kind of look down on it. And, it's kind of like, I guess they still feel like it has a stigma attached to it. But I actually want to remove that stigma. And I'm going to say this: the matchmaker services, which used to be obviously called like mail order bride services, the matchmaker services, they're very, very good in that the women that they do have there at these dinners and stuff, they've been fully vetted. They've had interviews with these women. Um, and the whole reason I say that is because that way you know that not only have they been vetted, but they have all the information. These girls in general are going to have their intentions are going to be a little bit more pure. Of course, even on those sites, they've blocked some people as well, but that's because they've done interviews and people have complained about them. But the whole point is that you at least reduce the women who are just out to drug men. And on top of that, the good thing about the matchmaking services as well is that usually have like a catalog of different women who are looking for like a husband. They're looking to settle down. You don't have to, you basically go to dinner, you meet multiple women at the same time, you do speed dating, you get multiple girls' numbers. Then after that, you guys stay in touch. You keep in touch. You become, maybe if you guys want to go further, you keep in touch after that. And the only con to that is that it's obviously going to be expensive. You got to put some money up, I believe. There's two big services in Colombia, which is there's a website called I believe it's called Latin Bride, or Latin Bride, or either My Latin Bride. And The guy pretty much, he'll take your photo, he'll show it to multiple girls. You pick out the girls you want, he'll show it to the girls, he'll let you know if they're interested. Um, and then he'll give you their contact information. You guys can link up. And then even he has an event where they'll actually show up at his office. And again, it's safe. All these girls have been vetted, they've been interviewed. It just costs a little bit of money. In this case, I believe it was about maybe like $500, $600. But you can meet but I believe after you pay that amount, you can meet as many as you want. That's the thing. You meet as many as you want. So that's a safer route as well if you're looking for a wife and you just want to. And plus, it'll save you time as well because you actually get to see a catalog of different girls there. You don't have to do cold approach. This works especially well for guys that are very, very shy. Now that I said that, now I've given you some different ways that you can actually meet regular girls in Colombia. From one, cold approaching, two, using Latin American Cupid or Badoo, or three, using the site it's called Latin Bright. There's also another site called loveme.com. They generally do like little dinners as well, where single women come out who are looking for like some type of husband, that kind of thing. And you can attend those dinners as well. Speed date, meet multiple women, maybe 50 women in one night. That's another business there as well. So those are some ways you can actually meet them. And so now let me give you, because here's the thing. Even with all the security, even with all the little vetting techniques, there's always a way that put it this way, as DC Rob said, in any country, in any city, anybody can get got, even people who are veterans, even myself, anything can happen. Anything happen. But what we can do is reduce the probability that anything will happen. So I want to give some additional vetting techniques that you can use to severely reduce the chance that you will wind up getting drugged or having a negative experience in Colombia. So that being said, is as I said, number one was avoid Tinder and instead either use the matchmaking services, cold approach, use Latin American Cupid, or even Badoo. So that's number one. Number two is obviously if you meet a girl online and you want to meet in person, please do it at a public place, maybe like a mall, even at your hotel, something like that. And here's the thing. Here's the next thing. When you choose a hotel, make sure it's a hotel, or if you do Airbnb, make sure it's an Airbnb that has security at the front that asks for the people's for their ID. Do not choose an Airbnb where there's no security or there's nobody to vet people coming into that building. You want a place that has security, not just for that, not just for the girls, but also you don't want to be caught up in burglaries or have any suspicious people laying around like the property, that kind of thing. So again, the next tip is when you get an Airbnb, make sure there's security at the bottom that can vet who pretty much when you walk in with a girl, they make her give her ID. They take a photocopy of the ID, and usually the hotel I was at, what would happen is when the girl leaves, they'll actually call to make sure I'm okay and say, "Hey, has the girl left yet?" or that kind of thing. And so that's what you want to do. So that's another tip. The other thing is, you know, you put it this way: if you just met this girl, if you just met this girl, me personally, I told my brother this as well. Do not, if you bring her to your room, do not drink or eat anything. Do not eat this. I know it sounds extreme. Do not eat or drink anything. What sometimes they'll do is they'll try to get you very, very comfortable, get you drop your guard down. She pops open a drink. She gets it out of your little, little drinking bar or something like that. She starts drinking. She wants to offer it to you. Just say, no, I'm straight. I don't want to drink right now. I got work in the morning. I can't really do that. Don't even drink any water because it can be mixed in water as well. As I told you before, I had someone close to me where he was with a girl in his room. She tried to get something to drink. He didn't want to drink anything. He was drinking out of his bottle. He was drinking some water with some food they had ordered. He went to the bathroom. He came back. He said when he took a sip of that water, something was very weird about it. He put the water down. He asked her, did you put some in my drink? Of course, she denied it. And then after that, he tried to ask her to leave. She didn't want to leave. He was going to call security. She literally ripped the phone out of the wall. So he went to another phone. She ripped that phone out of the wall. He said she literally almost jumped on his back as he was going out to get security. He had to literally go downstairs, get security to get them to remove the girl. And I say that to say this. What you notice is she put it in his water. So it's not just alcohol. You can put it in anything. So that's why I said do not eat or drink, because, of course, they can put it in your food as well. So before you even invite a girl over, maybe it's a girl you've been talking to her for a while. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I would say even if you talk to her 3-4 months, do not eat or drink around any girl that you bring to your room, especially if you don't have any family or friends there. Um, so that's what. So I encourage you to do that. Now, in addition to that, some things that you can vet to make sure that the woman is very before you start. Put it away. It's best to keep your guard up, but that says just say like you're getting close to a girl and you want to know if she's really genuine, that kind of thing. Ask yourself this: have you ever met her family? Has she ever shown you to her mother? Have you met her father? um to some of you that date, that tend to date, like, even single mothers, have you met any of her children? And I say that to say that a woman that's going to be really into you, in most cases, the girls I've dated that have been serious, they always, and this is like very quickly, they want to bring me and show me their mother, their family, that kind of thing. So that's that. The other major thing is, especially with women, they're very tied to their money and their credit card, like their money, their financials and that kind of thing. They usually want you to spend money on them, but they don't spend money on you. So ask yourself this: has the girl that you're close with, has she bought you anything? Has she bought you gifts? That kind of thing. Like my current girlfriend now, she's bought me multiple gifts. She's paid for like dinners, all kinds of stuff. I didn't even ask her to do this. She bought me clothes and everything. So she bought me that. She introduced me to her grandfather, her grandmother. So what I'm trying to say is that if the woman is just there to drug you, she's not going to get that close and personal and do things like, buy you things, spend money on you, have you meet their family, have you meet her family, that kind of thing. So just ask yourself that when you're dealing with these girls, and just ask yourself that if you've been talking to a girl for about 2-3 months, and for some reason she never mentioned her family, I would just think that's a little weird, because I just, in my personal opinion, the Latin women, they kind of love very hard. So it's just very weird. And I said to say there was one guy who said he had talked to a girl multiple times. They had a good conversation. They went on multiple dates, and then suddenly one day he brought her to a room and he wound up drugging her. So that's why I say, even if you've known the girl for a while, I would say don't again, do not eat or drink around her. Especially if you have not met any of her family members, she has not spent money on you, has she not spent gifts on you, you don't feel like there's a strong connection. And in some cases, they may actually try to bring your guard down by trying to, bring a false sense of security and a false connection around you. So yeah, be very careful about that. Here's one last tip as well that I thought of as well that I thought would be very, very helpful. Somebody brought this up. Here's a few things you can do. If you do meet a girl off Latin American Cupid, but in some cases, if you guys still want to go forward with the Tinder thing, at least do me this. The first time you're going to meet this girl, this is what you want to do. You want to keep a roster. The first time you meet any girl, this is what you want to do. You want to go find a hotel. They have plenty of cheap hotels. Find one that's only like $20 a night, $20 a day, something like that. The day before you invite the girls over or that girl over, get a hotel just for that night. Put all your safe stuff in the safe in that hotel. Or better yet, yeah. Put on or better yet, do this. Keep in your safe in your current hotel, lock up all your stuff, and actually meet the girl at the $20, $30 hotel and hang out there. And the reason for that is just if for whatever reason, even after you feel like you've really vetted her and you can trust her, just in case for whatever reason, if she slips past your guard and you let your guard down, at least all your laptops and stuff won't be in that hotel. It'll be in another room. I would even say um have the guy have maybe like the guy at the reception hold your hotel key to your other hotel where you have your stuff at. The reason I say that is because, and tell him, don't give you that key back until you see the girl actually leave. And the reason for that is because scopolamine is somewhat of a truth serum in which the girl may try to extract additional information from you. You might want to tell her, hey, I have a hotel where my stuff is at. You might give her the key. She goes to your hotel and steals your stuff. So the way to nip that in the butt is tell the hotel guy at the front, hold my key until she leaves. Do not give it to anyone. And do not give it to me until the girl actually leaves for protection. I'm sure he'll hold on to it, slip him a little money for doing his favor for you. And so I don't want to keep this video long. Please subscribe. Uh, hit the thumbs up, the notification bell. Leave comments and tell me what you think. And until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.